And one of the worst people in political America is back, and she is exactly who she was the day she lost to Donald Trump. And Dougie is here, too. Doug Emhoff, who cheated on his wife with the kid's nanny, then got her pregnant, then got a divorce. And if it were anyone else, I wouldn't care. But the media covered that all up so they wouldn't hurt Kamala. Nothing about that on MSNBC, nothing in the New York Times, not even a question. Instead, for 106 days, America got this.
An interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny, I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the right thing to do, you know, support women.
Okay, what a sad room this was last night in Kamala's first big speech since she lost the election to Donald Trump, which has gotta sting. That's really embarrassing for any Democrat. Hillary, Joe, Kamala. She lost the popular vote, the House, the Senate, all 7 battleground states. She lost them all. And 6 months later, Kamala Harris still hates America just as much as she did on Election Day.
Now, of course, I recognize that America has never fully lived up to these ideals, that for all the gains we've made, the American dream has for decades been slipping further out of reach for so many, and that the American people deserve leaders who make their lives better.
America has never fully lived up to these ideals. Spoken like somebody who not only hates America, but also just doesn't get America, which is ironic coming from our border czar. Under Kamala's watchful eye, at least 15 million criminal illegal aliens crossed into our country. And Kamala, from the bottom of my heart and everyone watching this program right now, if America is so darn bad, why is everyone coming to America? If we're so awful, why is everything we do the envy of the rest of the world? We are the only country on the planet with something called the American dream, which Kamala Harris is in many ways proof of and a product of. A woman of very limited intelligence, mixed race, daughter of immigrants, a woman of no particular political accomplishment who almost made it to the White House, a woman whose career started, like so many political careers, with the help of a mentor, or in Kamala's case, a mentor that you also sleep with, a mentor who also happened to be the very married mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, who we have spoken to several times on this program. I also wanted to play this. Again, coming from anyone else, this is just a line in a speech, but coming from this woman, the impact is so much different. And the saddest part, she doesn't even see the irony.
For all the gains we've made, the American dream has for decades been slipping further out of reach for so many, and that the American people deserve leaders who make their lives better and make our country stronger.
We deserve leaders who make our lives better and make our country stronger. I completely agree, but I have a question. Did Kamala make our lives any better? Did Kamala and Joe do anything, and we mean that honestly, did they do anything to make the lives of average Americans better or safer? War in Ukraine, war in Gaza, inflation over 9%, record high credit card debt, record high gas prices, Mortgage rates over 9%. Everything was more expensive when Kamala was vice president. Instead of Doge, our country was DEI. This man right here was in charge of U.S. health. This man right here was in charge of nuclear secrets. This right here was apparently a press secretary, and for 4 years, Kamala took part in the greatest political cover-up in U.S. history by claiming that that man right there was running the country. Instead of pride in America, it was trans pride flags at the White House. Instead of dignity, it was an open border and millions of criminals pouring into our country. Instead of dignity at the White House, it was this.
Just so you know, we're gonna fight every urge not to open drawers, but it's in our DNA.
See, there's John Lewis.
Yeah.
So there we are on the Edmund Pettus Bridge down.
Wow. Honey, Madam Vice President.
That's a guy with a beard and a dress at the White House. Do you see this chair right here? George Washington sat in this chair, we think. We don't know for sure. I haven't asked anybody, but I think. Kamala is just not terribly bright. But she had 6 months to write that 16-minute speech she delivered last night, and instead, it was filled with lines like this.
The courage of Americans who are banding together in the face of the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history.
Kamala, I hate to be the one to tell you this. I thought your team might have told you this, but every economic crisis we have ever gone through in world history, not just American history, world planetary history, was man-made. Every single one. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average today, right now, today, is over 10,000 points higher than it was when you first took office in 2021. So if this really is the worst man-made economic crisis in history, I'll take it. I'm fine with it. I watched this speech last night waiting for an acknowledgement that would never come, waiting for Kamala to acknowledge that she was part of the greatest political cover-up of our lifetime, that she was instructed to pretend Joe Biden was okay and capable. And I was waiting for an apology, not for me, for America. But instead, we got this.
Cory Booker, Chris Van Hollen, Chris Murphy, Jasmine Crockett, Maxwell Frost, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, all who, in different ways, have been speaking with moral clarity about this moment.
Speaking with moral clarity about this moment. When I think of moral clarity, this person right here is not the first person on planet Earth to come to mind, but maybe that's just me.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get clarification.
You're not recognized. Miss Crockett.
I can't hear you with your yelling.
You
don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
No.
Can you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
out-
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Excuse me for a moment while I come up for air. I'm just drowning in moral clarity, thanks to Jasmine Crockett. Kamala, though, was oddly honest at one point about the Biden-Harris administration, although I think she was talking about the Trump administration, although everything she said applies to she and Joe.
It's an agenda, a narrow, self-serving vision of America,
Check.
where they punish truth tellers,
Joe and Kamala.
favor loyalists,
Joe and Kamala.
cash in on their power,
Joe.
and leave everyone to fend for themselves.
Joe and Kamala. That was the Biden White House that she was just describing. That's what we all lived through for 4 years. Kamala Harris is one of these people where you don't really have to scratch your head to figure out. When you think about Kamala, she is a simple, woman. And last night for me confirmed everything we've always thought about Kamala. In over her head, yes. Unable to change or modulate, yes. The speech you just heard could have been delivered 2 years ago, could have been delivered on election night, could have been delivered 6 months from now, and she wouldn't need to change a thing except for maybe this.
Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago, the one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake? That scene has been on my mind. Everybody's asking me what you've been thinking about these days. Well, here those elephants were. And as soon as they felt the earth shaking beneath their feet, they got in a circle and stood next to each other to protect the most vulnerable. Think about it. What a powerful metaphor.